The morning rush at Brew and Bean was finally winding down. Andre wiped down the counter with a damp cloth, the familiar scent of coffee beans and pastries filling the small cafe. At 32, he had the kind of smile that made even the grumpiest customers soften, his dark eyes warm and patient. The cafe sat nestled between two massive glass skyscrapers in downtown, a cozy wooden refuge amid all that steel and concrete. Andre had been working here for almost 3 years now, balancing morning shifts with evening classes in social work. Growing up in the foster system had given him a special understanding of kids who needed someone in their corner. That's why he noticed her right away. She couldn't have been more than 8, sitting alone at the corner table by the window. Her small frame was bundled in a purple jacket despite the warm spring day, a soft pink beanie pulled down over what appeared to be a hairless head. Her thin fingers struggled with the paper wrapper around a blueberry muffin, her face a mask of concentration. "Hey, Tina, I'm taking 5, Andre called to his co-worker, untying his green apron. The cafe was unusually quiet for a Tuesday morning. Just a handful of customers typing away on laptops or scrolling through phones. Nobody seemed to notice the little girl sitting alone, nobody except Andre. What he didn't notice was the woman sitting 3 tables away, designer sunglasses hiding her eyes, an untouched latte in front of her. Olivia Chen, CEO of Chen Pharmaceuticals, one of the wealthiest women in America, had stepped away from the table she shared with her daughter to take an urgent call from her research team. Now back at her seat, she watched with interest as the tall barista approached her daughter's table. Andre approached slowly, not wanting to startle the girl. "That wrapper giving you trouble?" he asked, his voice gentle. The little girl looked up, her eyes large and serious in her pale face. After a moment's hesitation, she nodded. "Mind if I help? I'm Andre, by the way." He gestured to the chair across from her. "I'm Lily," she whispered, pushing the muffin toward him. Her voice was soft but clear. Andre sat down, carefully unwrapping the muffin. "Would you like me to cut this into smaller pieces?" "Sometimes that makes it easier." Lily nodded again, watching as Andre took a clean knife from his apron pocket and carefully cut the muffin into bite-sized portions. "There you go," he said, sliding the plate back toward her. "Sometimes these wrappers are tricky even for grown-ups." A tiny smile flickered across Lily's face as she reached for a piece of muffin. "Thank you. No problem. Are you waiting for someone?" Andre glanced around, wondering where this child's parents were. "My mom," Lily said between small bites. "She's working." She pointed vaguely toward the cafe without looking up. Andre nodded, understanding now that one of the adults in the cafe must be her mother, probably caught up in work. It wasn't his place to judge. "Well, it's nice to meet you, Lily. What grade are you in?" "3rd, but I don't go to school much anymore." Her small shoulders lifted in a shrug. "I have treatments." The word hung in the air between them. Andre felt his heart tighten but kept his expression natural. He'd worked with enough kids to know that pity was the last thing they wanted. "That sounds tough," he said simply. "What do you like to do when you're not at treatments?" Lily's face brightened a little. "I read a lot. And I draw." "Yeah? What do you like to draw?" "Animals, especially elephants." She took another small bite of muffin, chewing carefully. "They're my favorite because they never forget their families." From her table, Olivia watched the interaction, her heart in her throat. She'd been taking Lily to specialists for over a year now, flying to medical centers across the country, researching experimental treatments, pulling every string her considerable influence could manage, all while running a pharmaceutical empire that was racing to develop better treatments for pediatric cancers, like the one slowly stealing her daughter. What she hadn't done, couldn't seem to do, was make. Lily smiled like she was smiling now, talking with this barista who was treating her not like a fragile, dying thing, but like a regular kid. "I used to have a book about elephants," Andre was saying. "Did you know they can recognize themselves in mirrors?" "Not many animals can do that." Lily's eyes widened. "Really? Like they know it's them?" "Yep, pretty smart, huh? Just like you figuring out those elephants." Andre glanced at his watch. "I should probably get back to work. Can I get you anything else? Maybe a hot chocolate?" Lily looked hesitant. "I'm not supposed to have sugar." "Because of the medicine." Andre nodded thoughtfully. "How about our special steamed milk with cinnamon? No sugar, but still tasty." The girl considered this, then nodded. "Yes, please." "Coming right up." Andre stood, giving her a small salute that made her giggle. As he walked back to the counter, Olivia quickly looked down at her phone, pretending to be absorbed in emails. Her throat felt tight. For weeks, Lily had been retreating further into herself, the endless rounds of treatment draining her spirit along with her strength. Olivia had tried everything: expensive toys, private movie screenings, even a video call with Lily's favorite author. Nothing had broken through that wall of quiet resignation, and here was this barista, with nothing but kindness and a moment of attention, bringing out the daughter she'd been missing. Andre returned to Lily's table a few minutes later with a small mug of steamed milk, a sprinkle of cinnamon on top, and what looked like an elephant drawn in the foam. "It's not my best work," he admitted as Lily stared at it with delight. "Art was never my strongest subject." "It's perfect," Lily whispered, carefully cradling the warm mug between her small hands. Andre glanced at his watch again. "I've got to get back behind the counter now, but you enjoy that, okay? And if you need anything else, just wave at me." Lily nodded solemnly. "Thank you for helping with my muffin. Anytime. Elephant girl." He gave her another small salute before heading back to work. For the next 30 minutes, as Andre served customers and cleaned equipment, he kept an eye on the little girl in the corner. She sipped her milk slowly, occasionally looking out the window or drawing something in a small notebook she'd pulled from her pocket. There was a stillness about her that seemed too old for her years, but every now and then she'd look up and catch his eye, offering a small smile that lit up her whole face. Olivia watched too, behind the shield of her sunglasses, pretending to work on her laptop while actually observing this simple interaction that felt like a small miracle. For months she'd been focused on saving Lily's life, pouring billions into research, calling in favors from medical pioneers, even exploring treatments not yet approved in the United States. In her relentless pursuit of a cure, had she forgotten to help her daughter live? Eventually, Olivia closed her laptop and gathered her things. It was time for Lily's appointment. As she approached her daughter's table, she was struck by the contentment on Lily's face as she carefully drew in her notebook. "Ready to go, sweetheart?" she asked, adjusting her sunglasses. Lily looked up, nodding as she closed her notebook. "Mom, can we come back here tomorrow?" Olivia glanced toward the counter where Andre was serving an elderly customer with the same patient kindness he'd shown her daughter. "I think we can arrange that," she said softly. As they walked toward the door, Lily turned and waved at Andre, who smiled and waved back. Neither Lily nor Andre knew that they had just set in motion something that would change all their lives. And Olivia, the billionaire mother who had been searching the world for a miracle, wondered if perhaps one had been waiting just around the corner all along, in a simple cafe where her daughter had been seen, truly seen for the first time in months. 3 days passed before Andre saw Lily again. The cafe was busier this time, the morning rush in full swing when he spotted her and her mother entering through the glass door. The little girl looked even more tired today, dark circles under her eyes, but she perked up when she saw Andre behind the counter. He gave her a small wave, which she returned with a shy smile before following her mother to the same corner table they'd sat at before. "Hey, Tina, can you handle the register for a bit?" Andre asked his co-worker, already reaching for a clean mug. Tina followed his gaze to the small girl in the pink beanie. "Your little friend is back, huh?" Andre nodded, carefully preparing a cinnamon milk with just a touch of honey. "She's going through some tough stuff. Treatments," she said. Tina's expression softened. "Go ahead. I've got this." Andre took his time with the milk art, creating a better elephant this time. He added a small plate with banana slices arranged in a smile, remembering how Lily had mentioned she couldn't have sugar. When he approached their table, Lily's mother was speaking quietly on her phone, her back half turned away from her daughter, though Andre noticed she kept glancing back every few seconds. "Special delivery for the elephant expert," Andre announced, placing the mug and fruit plate in front of Lily. Her face lit up. "You remembered? Of course I did. Hard to forget someone who knows so much about elephants." He pointed to the foam art. "This one's a little better than last time." "Sorry about that," she said, accepting the extra cup he offered her. "Work never stops." "Must be important work," Andre commented, setting down Lily's tea within easy reach. Olivia's lips twitched in what might have been a smile. "It is, especially now." Over the next few weeks, Andre noticed changes in both Lily and her mother. The little girl's visits became less regular as her treatment intensified. Some days she was too sick to come in at all. On the days she did make it, she was often quieter, her energy depleted, though she always brightened when Andre sat with her during his breaks. Olivia, meanwhile, seemed increasingly stressed. She took more calls, stepping outside the cafe to speak in hushed, urgent tones. Occasionally, Andre overheard phrases like clinical trials and pediatric applications, but he never pried. One Tuesday morning in late July, Lily arrived wearing a new t-shirt with an elephant on the front. Her face was thinner than before, but her eyes lit up when she showed Andre. "Mom got it custom-made," she explained proudly. "She said if elephants never forget their families, then I'm definitely part elephant, because I never forget anything." Andre laughed, kneeling beside her chair. "She's absolutely right. Your memory is amazing. I remembered all my doctors' names yesterday," Lily said. "Even the new ones. There are 7 now." Andre felt his chest tighten but kept his smile steady. "That's a lot of doctors. They must think you're pretty special." "That's what Mom says, but—" Lily lowered her voice to a whisper, glancing at her mother who was ordering at the counter. "Sometimes I think she's more scared than me." Andre considered his words carefully. "Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going even when you are scared." Lily thought about this, nodding slowly. "Like elephants when they have to cross a river with crocodiles." Exactly like that. Later, when Lily was absorbed in drawing and Olivia had stepped outside for another call, Tina sidled up to Andre at the counter. "You know who she is, right?" Tina murmured, nodding toward the door where Olivia paced back and forth. Andre frowned. "Lily's mom." Tina rolled her eyes. "Not just any mom. That's Olivia Chen, as in Chen Pharmaceuticals, as in one of the richest women in the country." Andre stared at her in disbelief. "Are you sure?" "Positive. My brother works in biotech. Her company is developing some groundbreaking cancer treatments. It's been all over the industry news." Tina lowered her voice further. "Word is she's been pushing her company to fast-track a new drug through trials. People wondered why. Guess now we know." Andre watched Olivia through the window, seeing her in a new light. The designer clothes, the constant important calls, the air of authority. It all made sense now. Yet in all their interactions, she'd never mentioned who she was or tried to use her status for special treatment. When Olivia returned, Andre treated her exactly the same as before. If she was a billionaire CEO, that was her business. To him, she was simply Lily's mother, doing everything she could for her sick daughter. August brought a heat wave and fewer visits from Lily. When she did come in, Andre had special ice-based drinks ready for her. Crushed ice with a splash of fruit juice, or frozen yogurt thinned with milk for easier swallowing. He noticed she had more trouble eating now, sometimes grimacing when the cold hit her teeth or when she had to chew something firm. One particularly hot morning, Andre was surprised when Olivia entered the cafe alone. She looked more tired than he'd ever seen her, the composed CEO facade crumbling slightly around the edges. "No Lily today?" he asked as he prepared her usual coffee. Olivia shook her head. "She's had a rough few days. The new treatment protocol is intensive." She hesitated, then added quietly, "She asked me to come anyway. She wanted you to have this." She handed him a carefully folded piece of paper. Andre opened it to find a crayon drawing of an elephant wearing what looked like his green Barista apron. Underneath, in wobbly letters, Lily had written, "Thank you for being my friend. Love, Lily." Andre swallowed hard. "Tell her I'm keeping this forever," he said, his voice rough. "And that her elephant friend misses her." Olivia nodded, her own eyes suspiciously bright. "Andre, I don't know if you realize what you've done for her. These past months have been—" She trailed off, searching for words. "Lily talks about you all the time, about your stories and your special drinks. When things get hard at the hospital, she reminds herself that she'll get to see you and tell you about it." Andre felt his throat tighten. "She's a special kid." "Yes, she is." Olivia's phone buzzed, and she glanced at it with a frown. "I have to get back to the hospital. There's a conference call with the research team about—" She stopped herself. "About work," Andre found himself saying. "I know who you are, by the way. Tina recognized you a few weeks ago." Olivia's expression shuddered slightly. "Does that change things?" "Not for me," Andre said honestly. "You're still just Lily's mom to me." Something in her face relaxed. "Good, because that's who I want to be." She gathered her things, then paused. "The trial results are promising, Andre. The new drug we're developing, it's showing real potential for cases like Lily's. The hope in her voice was both fragile and fierce. Andre understood suddenly that this woman was fighting for her daughter's life on multiple fronts, as a mother at her bedside, and as a CEO pushing the boundaries of medical science. If anyone can beat this, it's Lily, he said. She's tougher than all those elephants she loves. Olivia actually smiled then, a real smile that transformed her tired face. She is, isn't she? She turned to go, then added over her shoulder, "We'll be back soon. She made me promise." Andre watched her walk away, the drawing from Lily still in his hands. Behind him, the cafe hummed with morning activity, customers coming and going, lives intersecting briefly over coffee and pastries. None of them knew about the little girl fighting for her life, or about her billionaire mother racing against time to save her, or about how their presence had changed something fundamental in a barista who had once thought his impact on the world would always be small. He carefully folded Lily's drawing and tucked it into his wallet, right next to his social work student ID. Sometimes the most important connections happened in the most ordinary places, he thought. And sometimes the richest people in the world just needed someone to see them as human. September brought cooler weather and a welcome surprise. After nearly 2 weeks without a visit, the cafe door swung open to reveal Lily, holding her mother's hand. She looked frailer than before, but there was a spark in her eyes that had been missing during her last few visits. "Andre," she called, her voice stronger than he expected. "I brought my elephant book back." Andre nearly dropped the cup he was cleaning. "Well, look who it is," he said, coming around the counter. He knelt to her level, noting the new purple scarf wrapped around her head and the way she leaned slightly against her mother for support. "I was starting to think the elephants had carried you off to Africa." Lily giggled. "No, silly. I was just in the hospital for a long time. But I'm doing better now." Andre glanced up at Olivia, who gave him a cautious nod, her expression a complex mix of hope and exhaustion. "Special occasion calls for a special treat," Andre declared. "How about we try something new today?" As he prepared Lily's drink, Andre watched mother and daughter settle at their usual table. Olivia helped Lily arrange her cushion and scarf, her movements gentle but efficient. There was something different about her today, a lightness to her, shoulders that hadn't been there before. When Andre brought their order, cinnamon milk for Lily with a more elaborate elephant design than ever, and a strong coffee for Olivia, he included a small plate of soft, warm apple slices drizzled with a touch of honey. "The apple might be good for your strength," he said to Lily. "My grandma always said apples put color in your cheeks." Lily carefully took a small bite. "It's warm," she said, sounding surprised. "Easier on your teeth that way," Andre replied. He'd noticed during her last visit how she'd winced when drinking anything cold. Olivia watched this exchange, then said quietly, "Andre, do you have a minute to talk?" "Sure." He glanced at the nearly empty cafe. "Tina can cover for me." Olivia turned to Lily. "Honey, I'm going to talk to Andre for just a moment. You okay with your book?" Lily nodded, already flipping through her elephant book, pointing out her favorite pictures to an imaginary audience. Olivia led Andre to a table just out of Lily's earshot. For a moment, she seemed unsure how to begin, her usual confidence wavering. "The new treatment is working," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's early, but her numbers have improved significantly in the past 10 days. Andre felt a rush of relief. "That's amazing news." "It is." Olivia's hands fidgeted with her coffee cup. "It's a drug my company has been developing for years. We fast-tracked it through trials when Lily was diagnosed, but even so, we barely got approval for compassionate use in time." She looked over at her daughter. "If it continues to work, it could help thousands of children like her." "Lily mentioned you were working on something important," Andre said. "I had no idea it was this personal." Olivia's expression softened. "Everything changed when she got sick. Before that, I was just another CEO chasing profit margins and market share. Now," she shook her head, "now I understand what actually matters." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching Lily as she carefully tried another apple slice. "I wanted to thank you," Olivia continued. "These past months, with the treatments and the hospitals and the endless meetings, this cafe became our sanctuary. You became her friend when she needed one most." Andre shook his head. Anyone would have done the same. No, Olivia said firmly. They wouldn't have. Trust me, I've seen how people look at her, how uncomfortable they get around a sick child. But you just saw Lily. Before Andre could respond, a crash from across the room made them both jump. Lily's mug had fallen to the floor, milk spilling across the tiles. But more alarming was Lily herself, slumped in her chair, her face ashen. Lily. Olivia was beside her daughter in an instant, Andre right behind her. Lily's eyes fluttered. Mom, she mumbled. I feel funny. Andre's first aid training kicked in immediately. Let's lay her down, he said, already clearing the nearest bench. Tina, call 911. Tina was already on the phone, her voice steady as she gave the dispatcher their address. The few customers in the cafe moved back, creating space. It's okay, baby, Olivia said, her voice remarkably calm as she helped Andre move Lily to the bench. You're just tired from our outing. But Andre could see the fear in her eyes. He grabbed a clean towel from behind the counter, folded it into a pillow and placed it gently under Lily's head. Her pulse is fast but steady, he told Olivia after checking Lily's wrist. And her breathing is good. Lily's eyes focused on Andre. Don't tell Mom I got sick here, she whispered. She won't bring me back. Despite everything, Andre had to smile. I think that cat's out of the bag, elephant girl. But we'll definitely have you back. You haven't finished your apple slices. Lily's lips twitched in a weak smile before her eyes drifted closed again. Olivia brushed hair from her daughter's forehead, her hand trembling slightly. The hospital's only 2 blocks away, Andre said, keeping his voice low. Ambulance should be quick. As if summoned by his words, sirens wailed in the distance. Olivia didn't look up from her daughter's face. Her immune system is so compromised, any infection could be dangerous. You said the new treatment was working, Andre reminded her. It is. But it's also hard on her body. Olivia's professional composure had vanished completely, leaving only a frightened mother in its place. The paramedics arrived within minutes, efficient and calm as they assessed Lily. Andre stepped back, suddenly feeling like an outsider as medical terms were exchanged. Olivia answered their questions with precise details about Lily's condition, medications and recent treatment. As they prepared to move Lily to the ambulance, her eyes opened again, searching the room until they found Andre. My book, she said weakly. Don't forget my elephant book. I've got it right here, he assured her, holding up the book she'd brought to return. I'll keep it safe for you. Promise you'll read me more elephant stories. Her voice was barely audible now. Promise, Andre said, swallowing past the lump in his throat. Once the paramedics had wheeled Lily out, Olivia lingered for a moment, suddenly looking lost despite her expensive clothes and powerful position. I should go with her, she said, though she made no move toward the door. Of course, Andre agreed. Andre. Olivia stopped, composed herself. Thank you for today. For everything. She'll be okay, he said with more confidence than he felt. She's stronger than she looks. Something shifted in Olivia's expression. You really believe that, don't you? I do. She's got elephant determination. He handed her Lily's scarf, which had fallen off during the commotion. Go be with her. That's what she needs right now. Olivia nodded, turning to go, then paused. I never asked what you do besides work here. I'm studying social work, Andre replied, surprised by the question. Night classes. I want to work with kids in the system. Foster kids like I was, understanding dawned in Olivia's eyes. That explains a lot. She reached into her purse and pulled out a business card, handing it to Andre. My personal number is on the back. Call if... She didn't finish the sentence, but she didn't need to. After she left, Andre stood in the middle of the quiet cafe, the elephant book still in his hands, the business card of one of the richest women in America tucked in his pocket. Around him, Tina and the customers were cleaning up the spilled milk, righting the fallen chair, returning the cafe to normal. But nothing felt normal anymore. In the span of a few months, a chance encounter with a little girl struggling to unwrap a muffin had somehow connected him to a world he never thought he'd touch, of billionaire CEOs and cutting-edge medical research, and the kind of hope that could change lives. As he put away the cleaning supplies and returned to his position behind the counter, Andre tucked Lily's book carefully on the shelf below the register. She would be back for it, he told himself. She had promised. And if there was one thing he had learned about Lily, It was that she kept her promises, just like the elephants she loved so much. 3 weeks passed without any sign of Lily or her mother. Each morning, Andre found himself glancing at the door whenever it opened, hoping to see a small figure in a colorful headscarf. Each evening he checked his phone for messages from the number Olivia had given him. The elephant book remained safely tucked beneath the register, waiting for its borrower to return. "You should just call her," Tina said one quiet afternoon, catching him staring at the door again. "That card wasn't just for show." Andre shook his head. "If there was good news, they'd have come in. And if there's bad news..." He couldn't finish the thought. October painted the trees outside the cafe window in brilliant reds and golds. Andre added pumpkin spice to the menu and hung paper leaves from the ceiling. Life went on, but the corner table where Lily had sat remained somehow emptier than the others, even when occupied. He was wiping down tables late one Thursday when his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Memorial Hospital, room 412, she's asking for you." Andre's heart lurched. He showed the message to Tina, who immediately waved him off. "Go, I'll close up. Take her book." 15 minutes later, Andre stood outside room 412, Lily's elephant book clutched in his hand. He'd stopped to buy a small stuffed elephant from the gift shop, its soft gray fur and floppy ears reminding him of Lily's drawings. He knocked gently on the door and pushed it open to find Olivia seated beside a hospital bed where Lily lay, looking smaller and more fragile than ever. Monitors beeped steadily around her and an IV line ran into her thin arm. But when she saw Andre, her face lit up with the same smile he remembered. "You came," she said, her voice weak but excited. "Of course I did, elephant girl." Andre moved to the bedside, fighting to keep his expression light. "I brought you something." He handed her the stuffed elephant and the book. Lily hugged the toy to her chest. "It's so soft. Thank you." Despite her obvious exhaustion, her joy was genuine. Olivia stood, touching Andre's arm lightly. "Can I speak with you outside for a moment?" In the hallway, Olivia looked both terrible and hopeful, a combination Andre wouldn't have thought possible. Her designer clothes had been replaced by comfortable pants and a simple sweater, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. "The treatment was working," she said without preamble. Her numbers were improving, but then she developed an infection. It hit her hard because her immune system is so compromised. The doctors, her voice caught. The doctors weren't sure she would make it through the first night. Andre leaned against the wall, suddenly needing the support. "But she's better now. She's fighting." Olivia rubbed her eyes, clearly exhausted. "The infection is under control, and we're going to restart the treatment tomorrow." Her doctors are cautiously optimistic. Andre nodded, relief washing over him. "She's tough." "She's been asking for you for days," Olivia continued. "Wanted to know if you'd read her elephant book and if you were taking care of the cafe." A small smile crossed her face. "She was worried you might be lonely without her visits." "It hasn't been the same," Andre admitted. Olivia hesitated, then said, "Would you mind sitting with her for a bit? I haven't left this room in 3 days and I need to make some calls, maybe get some fresh air." "Of course. Take all the time you need." Back in Lily's room, Andre pulled up a chair beside her bed. "So have you been keeping the doctors on their toes?" Lily giggled softly. "Dr. Patel says I'm his most stubborn patient, but in a good way. That doesn't surprise me one bit." For the next hour, Andre read to her from the elephant book, making up new facts when the real ones ran out. Lily drifted in and out of sleep, occasionally asking questions or making observations in her quiet voice. Even with the monitors and the IV and the hospital smell, it felt strangely like their time at the cafe. A bubble of peace amid chaos. When Olivia returned, looking marginally more rested, Lily was asleep. Andre carefully tucked the stuffed elephant under her arm and stood to leave. "Thank you for coming," Olivia said as she walked him to the elevator. It meant the world to her. "I'm glad you texted me." Andre hesitated, then added, "I'd like to visit again if that's okay." "More than okay." Olivia pressed the elevator button. "Andre, there's something else I wanted to discuss with you." The elevator arrived, but Andre made no move to enter it. "What is it?" "My company's charitable foundation." Olivia's voice took on a hint of her CEO tone. "We provide scholarships for promising students in healthcare and social services, especially those with personal experience in the systems they want to improve." She looked at him directly. Like former foster kids studying social work. Andre blinked, understanding slowly dawning. Are you offering me a scholarship? I'm offering you an opportunity to apply for one. Full tuition, living stipend, and guaranteed internship placement. She held up a hand when he started to protest. This isn't charity or a thank you. The foundation has strict criteria, and you would need to go through the proper application process. But from what Lily has told me about your background, and from what I've seen of your character, you'd be exactly the kind of candidate we look for. Andre was speechless. His night classes were expensive, and he'd been stretching himself thin trying to afford them while paying rent. You don't have to decide now, Olivia added. Think about it. The application deadline isn't until next month. I'll think about it, Andre promised, stepping into the elevator. And I'll be back to visit Lily tomorrow. The following weeks fell into a new routine. Andre worked his morning shift, attended classes, and visited Lily in the hospital every other day. He brought her different books about animals, played card games when she felt strong enough, and listened to her stories about hospital life. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, she began to improve. One snowy December afternoon, Andre arrived at the hospital to find Lily sitting up in a chair instead of her bed, a bright knitted hat covering her head. Her face was still thin, but there was more color in her cheeks than he'd seen in months. Andre, she called, practically bouncing with excitement. Guess what? I'm going home tomorrow. That's amazing news. Andre set down the book he'd brought. Just in time for the holidays. And Mom has a surprise, Lily continued, glancing at Olivia with a conspiratorial smile. Tell him, Mom. Olivia, who looked years younger than she had in October, said, The treatment has been officially approved for wider use. It will be available to other children by spring. Andre struggled to find words big enough. That's incredible. There's more, Olivia added. I've been thinking about what happens next. About giving back. She took a deep breath. I'm establishing a new foundation, separate from the company, focused specifically on creating supportive spaces for children going through treatment and their families. Spaces like the cafe, Andre guessed, exactly like the cafe. Olivia smiled. Places where kids can just be kids, not patients. Where they're seen as people, not problems to solve. She glanced at Lily, who was already engrossed in the new book Andre had brought. I was hoping you might be interested in helping to design the program. Once you finish your degree? Of course, Andre felt something shift inside, him the pieces of his life rearranging, into a new pattern he couldn't yet fully see, but somehow knew was right. I submitted my application to your scholarship foundation last week, he said. But regardless of that outcome, yes, I'd be honored to help. 6 months later, Andre stood in the doorway of a newly renovated space a few blocks from Memorial Hospital. The sign above the door read, Elephant Cafe, a place to be seen. Inside, the walls were painted with murals of elephants and other animals. Cozy chairs and small tables filled the room, along with bookshelves stocked with children's books and games. Behind the counter, wearing a green apron similar to the one Andre had worn at Brew and Bean, Lily carefully arranged cookies on a display plate. Her hair was growing back in soft curls, and though she was still thin, she moved with increasing energy. The latest scan had shown no trace of cancer, though her doctors cautioned that the road ahead would still have challenges. Olivia appeared beside Andre, clipboard in hand, as she checked off items on her opening day list. She had stepped down as CEO of Chen Pharmaceuticals, taking on an advisory role that left her more time for Lily and for overseeing the foundation's work. We're almost ready, she said. The first families arrive at noon. Andre nodded, watching as Lily instructed a volunteer on the proper way to make her famous cinnamon milk. Who would have thought a little girl struggling with a muffin wrapper would lead to all this? Olivia followed his gaze, her expression softening. She saw you too, you know. Not just a barista, but someone who cared, someone who made a difference. She touched his arm lightly. We all need to be seen for who we really are. As families began arriving, children with cancer and their parents, siblings, and friends, Andre took his place behind the counter. This wasn't where he'd expected his life to go when he first started working as a barista, to pay for night classes, but looking around at the space filled with laughter and conversation, at Lily showing a small boy how to draw an elephant, at Olivia listening intently to a worried mother, he knew he was exactly where he was meant to be, Sometimes the smallest kindnesses created the biggest changes. Sometimes being seen, truly seen, was the greatest gift one person could give another. And sometimes Andre thought as he prepared a special drink for a newly diagnosed child, the people who changed your life weren't the ones you expected at all.